You can create amazing pattern designs in Affinity Photo using a very basic design, PC or Mac. Now this document's 1920 by 1080 and I'm just going to use a rectangle. Very basic design. Just go over there to the rectangle and that's in the tools panel and create that. Now it's filled with a gradient. It can be filled with anything else as well. But what you can do with a gradient, just go over here, the gradient tool, and manipulate the gradient, move it backwards and forwards, change it maybe from linear to radial, just go to the top here and just change that. But I'm going to use this. What I'm now going to do is going to go to filters because I want to create a nice blurry effect for this. So like a very blurred gradient. So Gaussian blur, you could use some of the others as well. Maybe radial or zoom blur would create a nice effect. So Gaussian blur, and you got that. Now I'm using 30 pixels there for the blur, and you can see I've got a nice dark area there and also a nice light area, and that's what I want. Don't want it all solid colour. That's why the gradient's really nice for that. But you get this nice white here. And of course it does depend on the gradient, but you could use colours as well. So I've got that design. Now what I can do, go over to the move tool, and with that selected, I can hold down the Alt or Option key, and I can just duplicate this design. And when you do that, what you can see is that you get some very weird combinations, and you can rotate the design, of course, as well. So you can rotate it and then put it on top like that. Maybe resize. Again, hold down the Alt or Option key. Again, resize that and create some very odd, different angled designs like that. So you've got 4 layers there. You could create more, of course. You could have 10 or 15. You could add circles, whatever, into it as well. But now with all those, I want to select all of them. So all are selected. You can see that in the layers. And then you can go to layer and then down to merge selected. Merge selected is great if you've got them all selected, and it will create one layer. So merge selected, and they're all blended together. You could, of course, use blending modes as well before that if you wanted to do that. Once you've got that, what you can now do is a pixel layer. So you can go over in layers panel, it's a pixel. So you can go over to a layer, and there's this option, new pattern layer from selection. It needs to be a pixel selection. So, and you can see what happens. It generates this design. Now I would suggest go over here and set it to mirror. You don't have to, but you can do that. And you can see what happens. You can just generate this design. Now you can see, you can create some very beautiful designs using this option just from this. Now I'm going to remove the original image. So I'm just going to delete that, press delete there, and it's gone. And you can move it around, resize, rotate, but also what you can do, exactly the same as before. You can hold down the Alt or Option key and duplicate this design. So you can do that. So Alt or Option key, and you can see what happens then. You get this very unusual. It's still all mirror. And you can do that again. So you can duplicate it a number of times. You can see now I've got 3 layers. And again, you can do that. You can also resize if you want, and you can move around. As you see, you can actually create some pretty weird and wonderful designs very quickly using this. Just simple, basic mirror option. They're all mirrored. And there's pattern layers. But what you can then do is you can select all of those. And hopefully they will look sort of the same once you go and do a layer and merge selected, because I want to merge them all. So again, merge selected works as well. And you can see approximately, doesn't always seem to get exactly the same, but it still looks pretty unusual design there. And you can rotate it, move it around, do many, many other things as well. So you've got this design. What you can also do, of course, you can hold down the Alt or Option key again and duplicate this. And then hold that down and you can see it's still mirror as well over there. But you've also got the option here of layers. It's a layer, it's a basic layer. You can go over here and you can say, you know what, I want to blend. You can run through, maybe go for lighten. So you can create some very unusual combinations and just try them out. Just run through, you know, difference, whatever. You can create very weird and wonderful. And I'm just going to go with lighten. Otherwise, I'll just keep trying all of them. And again, what I can do, I can select all those and I can merge that as well. So layer down to merge selected. And again, you've got another design there, all from that basic rectangle with a gradient. You've created this very weird and wonderful thing. Now, if you decide, you know what, I want some color for this. I'm not going to keep this, but I just want to show you, you can add some color. Just simply go to the layer menu, new adjustment layer, and you can go down and say recolor. So recolor is a good one, and then you can make it maybe red. So you can change it, modify the hue, run through it, maybe change the saturation. That's a bit intense. And you can run through and create that. And again, you've got blending modes as well for that. So you can just try out different blending modes, which can be used to create some very interesting color combinations there. And again, what you can do, you can remove that. If you don't want that, which I don't, I'm just going to delete it. So it's back to the still grey design. But you can apply other filter effects as well. If you want, say, go over here to filters, you can just go down to, say, distort, maybe use shear. Not one of the world's greatest filters, I have to say, because it's a fairly small thing, but it's quite useful for all kinds of unusual things. Now you will see what happens with shear. It unfortunately creates gaps. And you can also modify that and just add additional points, but it's a great way of creating some nice wave designs. And you can see the wave design there, and click apply once you've done that. And again, resize the design. It's still a pattern. And of course, what you can do, again, hold down the Alt or Option key, you can duplicate it. So that design can be duplicated. You can see that layer on top of that. But also, because it's a layer, and that's the key thing, it's a layer, you can go over here to Effects. So Effects, just click there. And now what you can do, I'm not going to go for Gaussian blur, I'm just going to go for maybe outer shadow. So click there, and I can see now when I've got outer shadow, you can actually see there's some depths here, gives a bit of depth. And also you can add, say, 3D. So again, 3D, and you can add depth on top of that. Click close. It's still a pattern which you can resize and you can move it around. And again, hold down the Alt or Option key and duplicate that. So you can build up lots of layers and complexity this time, and all still active. So you can, again, if you want, combine them all. And again, go to Layer and down to Merge Selected. Now, at this point, you'll notice what happens. It loses that. So you might not want to do that. But I just wanted to show you, you can merge them all. Of course, you can always, at any point, merge the whole lot. If you create a great design, you don't want to do any more manipulation of the pattern. What you can always do, and that should always end up resulting in this design, you can always flatten them all. So you can just go to Layer and Merge Visible. So Merge Visible, and you get this end result, this design here, which of course you can then manipulate further, maybe add other filters. Just go there to Filters, maybe something like Detect Edges to create some very unusual. I think those edge effects are great. I love edge effects, but there's also up the options. Detect Horizontal Edges is another one. So you can create, and that actually creates some very strange, and it's really worth checking out. So if you haven't used the Detect Horizontal, this one actually horizontal makes even more unusual, sort of very, very like a tar-like sort of, I don't know, a lacquer look to the design. It's really strange. However, that's what you can do from a very, very basic, just a rectangle, slight blur effect. You can create all kinds of designs. And of course, this is still a layer. And you can always duplicate this, modify this, apply filter effects, go to Filters, Distort, my favourite, Deform, and just distort it in different ways to create all kinds of weird and wonderful sort of stretched out designs that, well, if that's what you want to achieve. So click Apply, like really stretching out, oozing that sort of tar effect all across the image. And that was, like I say, from a very basic rectangle. Hope you found this of interest. Thank you much.